there was Fatboy Slim, Sam Fender, and Ray combined. I think. I mean, it was a sea of people, and all I could see was Herbert banging a chain with a spanner right now at the corner of my eye.
Yes,
that's my moment.
So,
I only just caught a glimpse of it.
Bless him. He wanted to join in, and in the original gig, they were playing a tambourine or a triangle or whatever they could find, and there wasn't anything there. I bought my Boran for someone. I think Eddie Irvine ended up on that one. But Johnny looked around behind the stage, and he found an adjustable spanner and a bit of scaffolding. Basically, that was his, and he banged it for about half an hour, and then once he told me afterwards he'd missed, and he hit his hand, so he had this really big bruise on his hand because he'd whacked with an adjustable spanner. But God bless him, he's irrepressible, old Johnny, and he just joined in the spirit, and they all did, and it was great fun, and the sun was shining. As you say, the crowd was huge. But I think they might have been there to see Lando after the race and all the drivers who were coming on stage after us. But so we stole the audience.
I also saw Johnny's daughter and his two grandkids. They were sat in McLaren, and he apparently we all know he used to stay in an old horse box when he didn't he, to the British Grand Prix. There were all these lovely motorhomes, and Johnny would be in a horse box with a bit of hay in the bottom. But he sold it. Apparently. So there we go.
Yeah. So there's plenty of hay there. They cut the grass before the race, so he could have. He wasn't short of food.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. Should we get into it then? Let's get into the major talking point and the 10-second penalty for Oscar Piastri, which cost him. It built up a good lead. What was it? 14 seconds at some point. Safety car infringement and the run up to Stowe, just as it was confirmed the safety car was coming in at the end of lap 21. He slammed on the brakes. He went from 135 miles per hour to 32 miles per hour. And, Max went past him. I mean, I think he was accelerating at the time, so it kind of made things look a little bit more serious than they were. The difference between this one is that it was 60 psi of brake pressure that Oscar Piastri put on, 30 psi that George Russell put on back in Canada. If you're pounding the brakes, we understand it's about 130 to 140, Zach told us after the race. But 10 seconds, I think most people are saying he was banged to rights. Crofty, what's your thoughts on it?
This was my moment of the weekend. Moments could be good or bad, but this changed the destiny of the race. And I think Oscar more than likely would have gone on to win the race had it not been for this moment. Now, he was a bit unlucky in that the safety car lights went off quite late in the lap and was called in quite late. And he was trying to warm up his brakes at that phase. But you can't drive erratically. And I think he was banged to rights, even though, and I think another moment here, this is the first time we've seen Oscar really not lose his cool necessarily, but start to show some emotion and visibly very angry after the race and trying to hold his thoughts in. As he said, I don't want to say too much because I might get in trouble. He'd done this before in the race, and I think race control were already onto him a little bit in terms of what he was doing at a safety car restart. I remember back to Spain where he, very much aggressively slowed down the pack there to his benefit and managed to cool down Max's tyres to the extent that Max had a big moment when we got going again. And I can see why he was doing it, but in those conditions, with that visibility and that spray, you can't put the anchors on in the way he did. And that's why he got the penalty. Now, I've seen a lot of people say, hang on a minute, George Russell did exactly the same thing in Canada behind the safety car, and he didn't get a penalty at all. Well, he didn't, because he didn't do exactly the same thing. He didn't apply the brakes quite so heavily. He didn't slow down quite so much. And there was a big difference between the speeds and the slowing down, the stopping that Oscar did and George did. It's the concertina effect that it then causes.
Charles Leclerc losing patience with Ferrari as frustration grows 7 seasons in. Charles Leclerc is still waiting for his first real shot at the Formula One world title with Ferrari. And in a frustrating 2025 campaign, the signs are increasingly clear. The Monegasque driver's tolerance is reaching its limit. A rule change concerning the car's floor, introduced at the Belgian Grand Prix, also proved disastrous for Ferrari. But by then, the damage was done. Through a combination of driver errors and strategic missteps, Verstappen had already built a lead he would never relinquish. Still, it was a valuable experience for the lightning-fast Leclerc. Charles Leclerc burst into Formula One like a rocket. The driver impressed in his debut season with Alfa Romeo in 2018, immediately earning a seat at Ferrari. Kimi Räikkönen stepped down to Alfa Romeo in the twilight of his career to make way for Leclerc, Ferrari's new prodigy. He was expected to help deliver the team's first constructors' title since 2008. Now, 7 seasons later, that goal remains unfulfilled. In fact, Leclerc has only had one genuine opportunity, in 2022, to be precise. Ferrari started strongly in Formula One's new era, until Max Verstappen and Red Bull lightened its car and seized the initiative. A rule change concerning the car's floor, introduced at the Belgian Grand Prix, also proved disastrous for Ferrari. But by then, the damage was done. Through a combination of driver errors and strategic missteps, Verstappen had already built a lead he would never relinquish. Still, it was a valuable experience for the lightning-fast Leclerc. Development until now, Leclerc has remained fairly composed about Ferrari needing time to return to the top. After 2022, there were significant changes in the team's management structure, notably the arrival of team principal Fred Vasseur, and gradual progress became apparent. To put things in perspective, Red Bull was dominant in 2023, but by the following year, McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes all had something to show. Leclerc won races in Monaco and Italy last season, thrilling the tifosi in the process. Moreover, Ferrari battled McLaren for the constructors' title until the final race, a fight it narrowly lost. Still, it showed Ferrari had truly returned to the front, and with the driver pairing of Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, 2025 was supposed to bring ultimate success. That, however, has not materialized. Ferrari has yet to win a single Grand Prix this season, managing only a minor success with a sprint race victory in China. The SF25 is nowhere near the pace of the dominant McLaren, and Ferrari has also failed to introduce effective updates. While Red Bull continued to develop successfully in recent races, Ferrari has remained stuck. This was painfully evident in Singapore. Mercedes, Red Bull, or rather, Max Verstappen, and McLaren were all evenly matched, while Ferrari were competing for scraps. Leclerc and Hamilton had to manage their brakes carefully in the early stages. In Hamilton's case, the part actually failed. Frustration that in itself was frustrating, but what lingered was Leclerc's evident disillusionment. He called himself a passenger in his own car and admitted ruefully that he does not expect further success in the remainder of 2025. While the new regulations coming in 2026 may offer fresh opportunities for Ferrari, one gets the sense that Leclerc's belief in this dream team is beginning to fade. Can he still realize his title ambitions with the iconic Italian team? Leclerc may be approaching a crossroads. The Monegasque driver holds a long-term contract with Ferrari and remains committed to the team until 2026. But it wouldn't be surprising if he were quietly assessing his options. If he fails to shine in red again next year, perhaps a move could be on the cards. Naturally, that would require an opening at one of the top teams. For now, it's clear that Leclerc's patience is wearing thin. The 27-year-old sees contemporaries like Verstappen achieving enormous success, and he has shown that he, too, can be a genuine title contender. Ferrari knows what it must do: provide Leclerc with a car capable of winning. If not, the Scuderia risks losing its star. There's no denying Formula One is one of fashion's latest obsessions. Beyond the obvious attractions, hot guys, fast cars, and champagne, racing is in style, in and out of the paddock. Since debuting in 2019,